This isn't for every man. If you clicked this video, something inside you already knows. Something is off. You felt it. She pulled away after you gave everything. She chose the man who barely tried. You bent, broke, begged, and still she drifted. Why? What is it about some men who speak less, move slower, need no validation, that leaves women obsessed, craving, unraveling? It's not money, not looks, not charm. It's something deeper, something still, something dangerous, the kind of masculine energy that doesn't chase, but commands. This video will reveal it piece by piece. This trait women don't want you to find. Not because they hate men, but because once you unlock it, you become the one thing they can't control. Like, subscribe, and prepare to become unreadable. You're not watching this by accident. Something inside you led you here. And if you feel a strange pull right now, that quiet chill in your chest, it's because you already know this truth. You've seen it, felt it, lived it. You gave her your all. You tried harder. You texted first. You waited for replies. You bought the gifts. You showed your heart, and still, she vanished. She said she needed space. She said you're too nice. She said she wasn't ready. But 2 weeks later, she's with him, the guy who barely looked at her. The one who didn't care, the one who didn't try, and you sit there in disbelief, confused, angry, broken, because deep down you know you were never seen, not truly, not like he was. But here's what no one told you: that man didn't win because he was lucky. He didn't win because he was rich. He didn't win because he was alpha. He won because he was unreadable, and that is everything. There's one trait women fear, not because it hurts them, not because it manipulates, but because it takes back power. It flips the game, and it leaves her with nothing to control. That trait, its presence. I'm not talking about meditating in silence. I'm not talking about sitting calmly. I'm talking about that rare masculine stillness, that unmoved energy, that quiet strength. It's when your silence weighs more than her shouting, when your gaze makes her adjust her shirt, when your voice, steady and slow, makes her breath catch in her throat. It's the man who isn't chasing, isn't performing, isn't reaching, because he already knows who he is. And that terrifies her. She doesn't say it, but she feels it, the shift, the weight, the energy. And in that presence, she loses control. She adjusts her tone. She softens her stare. She plays with her necklace. She fidgets because her instincts know this man is different. He's not reacting. He's observing. He's not afraid of silence. He commands it. And in that silence, she does all the work. She starts to speak more. She starts to ask questions. She starts to chase your attention, because your silence is not empty. It's dominant, it's focused, it's whole. You ever seen how women act around a man who barely speaks, not out of shyness, but because he doesn't need to? That man changes the temperature of the room. He walks in, and people move differently. He sits still, and the noise around him starts to fade. That's not magic, that's masculine power, still, unshaken, stoic. And here's where most men fail. They speak too much, they prove too much, they rush to impress, trying to fill the air with jokes, charm, praise. But the man who speaks less, the man who waits, watches, listens, he makes her work, and she will work, because that silence makes her guess, it makes her wonder, it makes her feel something she rarely feels: uncertainty. And that uncertainty, it's the seed of desire. Women don't chase certainty. They chase mystery. They chase presence. They chase the man who won't explain himself, the man who doesn't respond to every message, the man who doesn't validate every feeling, because that man isn't trying to be liked. He's choosing who gets access to his world. That's what makes you dangerous. You become the question she can't answer, the riddle she can't solve, and in a world that hands her easy attention, you became the one man who doesn't. She starts to spiral. She overthinks. She checks your stories. She asks her friends, why isn't he texting back? What's going on with him? But you're at peace, not because you're playing games, but because her attention is not your fuel. Your peace is, that's Stoicism, not being cold, not being cruel, just being still in the storm. It's power without noise. It's control without control. It's fire that burns inward. You don't need to yell. You don't need to threaten. You don't need to chase. You just exist, completely, and in that stillness she melts. Because she doesn't know what to do with you. She knows how to deal with clingy men. She knows how to push soft men. She knows how to tease emotional men. But she doesn't know how to move the man who doesn't move. She can't seduce him with curves. She can't rattle him with silence. She can't guilt him into chasing, because he doesn't fear loss. He doesn't beg for love. He simply observes, smiles, and continues. And when she pulls away, expecting you to chase but you don't, she panics. When she tests you, expecting you to argue but you just breathe, she spirals, because that kind of man, he's not common. He's not replaceable, he's unforgettable, and deep down she knows it. Now imagine this: she's used to men over-explaining, men apologizing too quickly, men writing novels over text, and then you come along. She tries her usual tricks. She withdraws, goes cold. She posts a thirst trap. She waits for you to notice, but you don't. You saw it, and you kept scrolling. You didn't react. You didn't bite. You just kept moving. And that silence, it shakes her, because now she's not just missing attention. She's missing your attention. And when a man learns to pull his energy back genuinely, peacefully, without bitterness, without malice, he becomes immortal in her memory. Because she doesn't forget the man who didn't need her. She doesn't forget the man who let her walk away and didn't flinch. That man becomes her standard, not the one she used, not the one she controlled, but the one who stayed whole. You don't win her with affection. You win her with presence. You don't keep her with validation. You keep her with self-mastery. When she sees you're unshaken, when she sees you'll remain calm, even in the silence she starts to crack. Because that peace, it's the one thing she can't buy, can't fake, can't manipulate. You want to become unforgettable, become still, become focused, become unreadable, speak only when needed, move with intent. Don't react, respond. When the world panics, you pause. When emotions flare, you breathe. When she tests you, you smile. That's not arrogance. That's power. That's what makes her stare. That's what makes her obsess. That's what makes her come back even after she swore she wouldn't. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You don't need to chase love. You need to become love, the kind that doesn't beg. Because once you do that, she'll feel it, in her gut, in her breath, in the silence. She'll feel the man who doesn't need her, but could have her. And that's the scariest, most beautiful thing a woman will ever experience. If you made it this far, you're not like the rest. You've felt the pull of your own power. You've started to remember who you are, not the man who chased, not the man who begged, but the man who commands. The man who doesn't move when tested. The man who becomes unforgettable by needing nothing. So walk in silence. Breathe in stillness. Let your presence speak, because while others shout for attention, you become the question they can't stop asking. And if this resonated with something deep in you, leave the word unreadable in the comments, not for them, but for you, and subscribe, because the next video I release, she'll wish you never found it. Stay calm, stay still, stay stoic. Until next time.